My wife served me divorce papers in the parking lot at my mother's funeral because she was embarrassed I'm just a paramedic. I honestly don't even know where to start with this. I'm a paramedic in Ohio, been doing it for about 12 years now. The pay's not amazing, around $55K a year, but I love what I do. Every shift I get to help people on literally the worst days of their lives. It matters to me. My wife Leela works in marketing and does the whole lifestyle influencer thing on the side. She makes around $90 to $110K between both, and her family's pretty well off. Her dad Greg owns a development company. Mom plays golf and does charity stuff. They've always made it clear I'm not exactly what they had in mind for their daughter. We met about 5 years ago at a hospital fundraiser. She was handling social media for the event. I was there with the EMS team. At that time, she told me she liked that I was passionate about something real instead of just chasing money. We dated for 2 years, got married 3 years ago. Before the wedding, her family insisted on a prenup. Their lawyer drew it up. Basically, everything stays separate. Inheritances go to whoever receives them. Each person keeps what's in their name, and we both waived spousal support unless the marriage lasted over 10 years. I didn't have much to protect anyway, just a small 401k and my beat-up pickup truck, so I signed. A public defender buddy of mine looked it over and said, "Actually, this protects you as much as her. If you ever get some surprise inheritance, she can't touch it." I literally laughed and told him my dad had been gone for 25 years, so yeah, no inheritance coming. The marriage started okay but went downhill fast. Leela became more and more embarrassed about my job, the same one she once called real. Now she'd say things like, "You need to think about your future. You can't drive an ambulance forever." She wanted me to go into hospital administration or medical sales, something that paid more. She was always comparing me to her friends' husbands, doctors, lawyers, tech guys. Family gatherings with her side were brutal. Her dad would ask about my salary and then say, "Well, at least it's stable." Her younger brother would brag about his downtown condo and Tesla while making jokes about my farm truck. About a year ago, she started spending a lot of time with this client named Brandon, a commercial real estate broker. Lots of late dinner meetings, fancy restaurant selfies without me in them. I had my suspicions, but I was working crazy hours and taking care of my mom, so I buried it. My mom Nancy raised me by herself after my dad Ron left when I was 9. He owned a construction company called Mason Construction, just walked away from everything, me, Mom, the whole life on a random Tuesday when he decided he didn't feel like it anymore. Never paid child support, never called. As far as I was concerned, he was dead. Mom worked 3 jobs as a nurse to keep us going. 6 months ago, I suddenly got an email from some law office asking to talk about Ron. I figured it was a scam and ignored it. Mom said he'd called her a few years back wanting to make amends, but she didn't trust it. Then Mom's health got bad, heart failure, in and out of the hospital. I was pulling double shifts to pay for care, trying to be there for her. I wanted to move her in with us, hire a part-time nurse. Leela lost it. She said, "You spend all your time with your mother. What about our marriage?" We fought about it constantly. And ever since then, the comments about my job, my salary, my life choice, my everything only got worse. 3 weeks ago, Mom passed away suddenly. Heart attack. I was completely destroyed. Mom was the only family I had left. The funeral was 2 weeks ago. I gave the eulogy, talked about how she helped everyone even when she had nothing. Leela stood there checking her phone. After the service, everyone went to the funeral luncheon at the hall. I stepped outside to the parking lot because I couldn't breathe. That's when Leela walked up with a middle-aged man, her family's lawyer. Right there in the parking lot, still in my black suit, eyes swollen from crying at my mother's grave, she looked me dead in the eyes and said, "I think this is the best time to do this. Bet her to rip the Band-Aid off. One less thing for you to worry about." The lawyer handed me a folder, divorce papers, already filled out. He went through it quickly. Asset division per the prenup, no alimony. She keeps the apartment since it's in her name. We split the small savings account 50-50. I actually laughed, like a bitter, broken laugh. I said, "Perfect timing. A funeral and a marriage, very efficient. I signed right there without reading it carefully. I just wanted out of that parking lot, away from her, away from everything. She looked almost surprised that I didn't fight it. She said, "You'll thank me for this later. This is the mature way to end things." I drove home in a daze, slept in my truck in a Walmart parking lot because I couldn't stand to go back to the apartment. The next morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls from a law office. I called back, figuring it was about the divorce or Mom's tiny estate. A lawyer answered. "Mr. Mason. We represent the estate of Ronald Mason. We need to meet with you as soon as possible regarding your inheritance." I sat there in my truck, still in yesterday's funeral clothes, and I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Read it, my wife just left me, my mom just died, and now the father who abandoned me 25 years ago apparently left me something. I don't even know what to feel right now. Edit. Thank you for all the support. I have a meeting with the lawyer tomorrow morning. I honestly think it's probably just debt or something he left behind. I'll update after I know what this is about. Some of you are saying I shouldn't have signed without a lawyer. You're probably right. But in that moment, standing in a parking lot after burying my mom, with my wife's lawyer explaining how she wanted out, I just wanted it over. The prenup was ironclad anyway. She gets her stuff, I get mine, which is basically nothing. Update 1. Holy shit, Reddit, I met with my father's lawyers this morning. I went in thinking maybe there was a storage unit bill or something I'd have to deal with. I was so wrong. Ron Mason died a month ago from a stroke. I had to sit with that for a second. He was dead. The man I'd spent 25 years hating, the man I'd imagined confronting someday, demanding answers. Gone. And I'd never even known he was sick. It's weird. I didn't feel sad exactly, but I felt something. Like a door closing that I didn't even know was still open. Mom had just died 3 weeks ago. Now both my parents were gone, and I hadn't had a real conversation with either of them in years. One because she was taken too soon, the other because he chose to leave. The lawyer let me sit there quietly for a minute before continuing. Apparently, he'd built Mason Construction into a pretty successful company. They do infrastructure and small commercial developments around the region. Over the last few years of his life, he sold off a lot of assets, but kept controlling shares in the company plus several plots of land that were in the process of being rezoned for commercial use. His will and trust named me as the sole beneficiary, except for a small amount to charity and a tiny provision for another kid I didn't even know existed, half-sibling somewhere, apparently. The estimated value of everything, $3.05 to $4 million. The company shares, the land, cash reserves, everything. But here's the part that made me sit there in stunned silence for a full minute. Everything was placed in a family trust with very specific language. According to the lawyer, no current or future spouse of yours can be considered a beneficiary of this trust. In the event of divorce, no spouse has any claim to trust assets. The lawyer explained it to me. Your father, after he left your mother, he remarried, had another child. That marriage ended badly. His second wife used the kid to constantly demand more money, threatened to keep him from seeing his child unless he paid up. It left him pretty bitter about relationships and money. He wanted to make sure you'd never be gold-digged the way he felt he was. This trust is locked down tight. I showed him a scan of my prenup that Leela's lawyer had sent over. He actually smiled. This plus your father's trust. It means any ex-wife has exactly zero access to any of this, even if she knew about it. I sat there with so many emotions I couldn't process them. I spent 25 years hating this man for abandoning me, and now he's the reason I'm not getting destroyed in this divorce. The lawyer explained that the trust is designed to generate income while preserving capital. I don't have to do anything immediately. There's a management team running Mason Construction, but if I want to take an active role, the option is there. I drove home, to my shitty little studio apartment I'm renting temporarily, in complete shock. I haven't told Leela about any of this. We're legally separated, just waiting for the court to finalize everything. I hired a financial advisor and we're working on a plan. Here's what I'm thinking. Keep my paramedic job part-time because I actually love it. take some management courses and get more involved with Mason construction, pay off all of Mom's remaining medical bills, live modestly and invest most of it. Leela texted me asking for a timeline on when I'm moving out completely. She wants her boyfriend Brandon to move in. Yeah, she's already made it official. Impatient much? I just replied, sure, happy to be out by the end of the month. Wish you the best. She wrote back something cold about returning the keys on time. And well, besides the inheritance, Leela also doesn't know this. A mutual friend, Mark, has sent me screenshots from a group chat with Leela and her girl boss friends. I'm just going to share a few highlights. Leela, finally free from being married to a poor paramedic who brings home trauma stories every night. I deserve a real man who does commercial real estate. Friend. Phil's gonna be driving that ambulance for the rest of his life. Lol. Leela. He signed immediately, didn't even ask questions. Such a good boy. I'll be single and thriving before Christmas. Reading that, I felt nothing. Not anger, not hurt. Just relief that I signed those papers. I wrote back to Mark, thanks man, I needed to see that, makes everything clearer. Then I got another email from the estate lawyers. Mr. Mason, the city council just approved rezoning for one of the land parcels. The value could potentially double within the next 18 months. Would you like to hold or sell? I'm starting to realize this isn't just some money. This is a whole new life. I don't know if the universe calls this karma or just timing, but I'm glad I signed. I just wish Mom was here. She was the only one who thought Leela was good for me. I'm meeting with a business consultant next week to understand what running Mason construction would actually involve. Part of me wants to honor what my dad built, even though I barely knew him. The other part of me just wants to keep saving lives in the back of an ambulance. Edit, a lot of you are asking if Leela knows yet. She doesn't. As far as she knows, I'm still just her paramedic ex-husband living in a crappy studio. The divorce isn't finalized yet, but we're separated and the prenup governs everything anyway. Update 2. Things have moved fast in the past few weeks. In the local construction industry, news travels. Word got out that Ron Mason passed away and his mystery son took over. The Business Journal ran a piece. Local paramedic inherits construction firm, becomes majority owner of Mason Construction, with a photo of me in a suit at the company office. Leela's dad Greg saw it. For 3 years of marriage, this man barely remembered my name. Now suddenly I get a call. Phil, been too long. Want to grab coffee, talk about opportunities. I met him yesterday. He was trying so hard to be friendly it was almost painful to watch. We're both in the industry now, ex-son-in-law. He laughed uncomfortably. Then he started pitching a joint venture on a new mixed-use development almost immediately. Said they need a solid contractor. Just like his own daughter, impatient much. I kept it professional. I'll have my team review it, but I keep personal and business separate. He didn't like that answer but forced a smile. Meanwhile, Leela started putting pieces together. She was showing properties last week and saw a new site sign. Site prepared by Mason Construction with Phil Mason, managing partner, listed at the bottom. A friend of a friend told me she just froze for a few seconds, then kept walking with her clients like nothing happened. That night she apparently went full detective mode on LinkedIn and Google, found the Business Journal article, photos of me at construction sites, pictures of me shaking hands with developers, including her father. The realization must have hit her like a truck. She divorced the poor paramedic right before he became a multimillionaire. 2 days ago, she showed up at the station while I was on shift. She wanted to talk about closure, like adults. I was exhausted but agreed to step outside for 10 minutes. I'm not happy with how things ended between us, she started. We signed too quickly. Maybe we should try counseling. I just looked at her. You already had 8 months of counseling with Brandon. She tried to look shocked that I knew about the affair but recovered fast. I made mistakes. But I always believed you could be more than a paramedic. And look at you now. I was right. Maybe we could start over. I kept my voice level. Leela, we're divorced. You pushed for it. The prenup and divorce decree are both finalized. We have no legal connection anymore. The prenup is just paperwork. People can modify these things. I actually smiled. You're the one who insisted I sign it. That paperwork protected your assets from your poor paramedic husband. Now it protects me from an ex-wife who only came back when she saw money. Her face went white. I added, the trust my father set up is completely separate from marital property. Even if we were still married, which we're not, you'd have zero claim to any of it. He designed it specifically to prevent gold diggers. Turns out, he knew what he was doing. She started to say something, but I was done. I need to get back to work. People's lives depend on me being focused, not standing in a parking lot rehashing a dead marriage. While all this was happening, Brandon got fired from his real estate firm for policy violations, something about inappropriate relationships with married clients and using company funds for personal expenses. Several of Leela's influencer clients dropped her too, not wanting to be associated with the drama. She thought she was trading up. Instead, she lost everything. Yesterday was the final divorce hearing. Leela showed up with her lawyer looking stressed. My lawyer, a good one this time, laid out the prenup and trust documentation. The judge asked, Mrs. Mason, you were fully counseled when you signed the prenuptial agreement. She nodded, trying to look confident. The judge read, all current and future inheritances of Mr. Phil Mason are separate property and not subject to marital asset division. Leela's lawyer tried to ask about sudden changes in Mr. Mason's financial circumstances, but got shut down immediately. The prenup is clear. If your client wished to contest it, she needed to do so much earlier. It's too late now. Walking out of the courtroom, I heard Leela's lawyer mutter to her, next time, don't file for divorce before the estate probate closes. I signed the final papers and walked out without looking back. Here's the karma kicker. My company just won the bid for that mixed-use development Greg wanted so badly. The same one he tried to pitch me on at coffee. He's been calling and emailing nonstop for the past 2 days wanting to discuss partnership opportunities. I haven't responded yet. My project manager is handling all communications. It's weird having the people who used to mock my $55K paramedic salary now sending formal proposals to my company begging to be subcontractors. Edit. People are asking if I'm being vindictive. I'm not. I'm running a business. Greg's proposal will be evaluated like any other. If his numbers are competitive and his work is quality, fine. But I'm not giving him preferential treatment because he used to be my father-in-law. Final update. It's been about 9 months since my last update. A lot has changed. I finished a course in construction management and finance. I'm now the managing partner of Mason Construction, but I still work 1 or 2 paramedic shifts a week because honestly, I miss the sound of the sirens. There's something about those calls that keeps me grounded. The company's doing well. We're working on a few projects right now, an affordable housing development and a community center that I'm naming after my mom, the Nancy Mason Community Center. It's going to offer free medical screenings and have meeting space for support groups. That one's personal. I bought a house a few months ago. Nothing crazy, 3 bedrooms, quiet street, decent yard, close enough to the station that I can get there fast if they need coverage. No luxury car, no flashy lifestyle. I just wanted comfortable. And I met someone. Her name's Mia. She's a pediatric nurse at the hospital where I drop off patients. We got to talking one day in the ER about this scared kid we'd both been treating. She asked me out for coffee. I said yes. She knows I have a family business, but not the details. She likes me because I still get excited talking about saving lives and building things that help people. Last week she told me she Googled me and saw the Business Journal article, then laughed and said, I was wondering why you talked about construction sites so much. And that was it. She didn't ask any further questions about my business. Didn't even seem like she cared at all. So Leela, after Brandon dumped her, yeah, he bilayed once she wasn't the successful influencer anymore. Her real estate career tanked pretty hard. The affair drama, the messy divorce, her reputation took a hit. She had to leave the prestigious agency she worked for, and now she's at one of those discount brokerages making a fraction of what she used to earn. She moved back in with her parents to save money. From what I hear through mutual friends, family dinners are rough. Greg blames her for not keeping Phil before he got rich. Her mom's embarrassed because the whole story made its way through their country club crowd. A few weeks ago, I got an email from Leela. Long, rambling. She apologized for the timing of the divorce, for the affair, for looking down on my career. She said she always believed I'd become successful and she's proud of me. She asked if we could meet just for real closure this time. I agreed to meet at a busy coffee shop. Public place, lots of witnesses, safe. She showed up looking tired, cried real tears, told me life hasn't gone how she expected. Said Brandon turned out to be exactly what she accused me of not being, obsessed with money and status, no substance underneath. I was wrong to judge you by your salary, she said, but I want you to know I really did love you once. I kept my voice steady. I believe at some point you had feelings for me. But love that requires constant comparison, that needs to change the other person into who you want them to be, that's not what I need. Then she went for it. If we could go back, if there was no money, no trust, no prenup, would you give us a second chance? I took a breath. If you hadn't forced me to sign a prenup, if you hadn't left me the day I buried my mother to run off with a real estate guy, if you'd stayed with me when I was just a paramedic making $55K, I would have shared everything with you. No lawyers, no paperwork needed, but all of that happened. And more importantly, even if the law allowed it, I don't want my life tied to someone who only came back when I had something to take. I stood up, paid for both coffees, and added one more thing. Actually, I need to thank you. If you and your parents hadn't insisted on that prenup, I might have been forced to split my mother's memory and my father's legacy with someone who only saw me as a stepping stone. You wrote your own karma. She just sat there, broken. But wait, because there's one more piece to this story that I only found out about last week. I was driving past one of our new developments, Mason Ridge Homes, we're calling it. Nice starter homes, good neighborhood, the kind of place I would have dreamed of buying when I was just working the ambulance. I saw someone showing the model home, stopped at a red light, looked closer, and it was Leela, standing in front of a sign that read Mason Construction, building communities with our logo huge across it. A friend in the industry told me what happened. Leela tried to avoid selling any Mason Construction properties because of personal reasons, but inventory's tight in the area right now, and her brokerage keeps assigning them to her. She needs the commission. So now, several times a week, she has to smile, hand out brochures with my company's name on them, post listings on social media with our logo, and tell potential buyers about the excellent craftsmanship and community values of Mason Construction. Every closing she does, my company gets mentioned in the paperwork. Every check she earns has our developments attached to it. I didn't plan this. I'm just building homes and community centers and trying to do good work. If someone finds it painful to see the Mason name everywhere, that's something they have to work through themselves. Last night Mia and I were making dinner at my place. She's teaching me to actually cook instead of living off energy bars between shifts. And she asked if I ever think about how different my life could be if things had gone another way. I told her the truth. My ex filed for divorce at my mother's funeral because she thought it was perfect timing. Turned out it was. That was the day I got my freedom back. Mom used to say that sometimes people dig their own holes and all you can do is stand far enough back that you don't fall in with them. She was right. I'm happy. I'm building things that matter. I'm with someone who likes me for who I am, not what I can provide. And I'm still saving lives, which is all I ever wanted to do in the first place. The Mason name used to represent abandonment to me. Now it represents second chances and building something that actually helps people. That's enough. Edit. Some of you are asking what happened with Greg and the development deal. We did end up hiring his company as a subcontractor for the mixed-use project. His bid was competitive and his work is solid. It's business. He's professional now, I'm professional. We're not family, we're not friends, we're business associates. That's all it needs to be.